Pokémon history is often full of little details and small events, but when it comes to Kalos, this couldn't be further from the truth. Kalos has a simple history as far as we know, and yet it's one of the most complicated and mysterious one we've ever seen, making people want more and more of this region. What it lacks in specific events, well, it makes up for how it changed the whole Pokémon world, and with Pokémon Legends Z-A announced, maybe it's time for a lesson. So hey, I'm not so ace trainer, and what about Kalos history? Let's get into it. The known history of the Kalos region starts 3,000 years ago with one of the most tragic events in the history of Pokémon, the Kalos War. While we don't know who was Kalos' adversary in this conflict, we do know that it was led by the king's brother, and we know that it lasted for a long time, taking the lives of many. That king was AZ, and he saw his Floette live to war as well. It was a different time and Pokemon were seen merely as tools for battle. Still, AZ loved his Floette, but it never returned. Instead, he got a tiny casket. It had perished in the war. AZ, using his knowledge and technology, built a machine with the goal of bringing his Floette back to life. But, consumed by sorrow and rage, he also used that to destroy both sides of the conflict, effectively ending the war. His Floette, seeing that its newly found eternal life was fueled by the lives of many other Pokemon, left him, and AZ, now granted eternal life as well as an overly tall stature, grabbed the key to the weapon and left in search of it. It was this event that Professor Sycamore theorizes infused huge amounts of natural energy into evolutionary and special stones, creating what we know now as Mega Stones. There are also some conflicting tales about Yveltal and Xernea's role in the post-war. According to the man in Anistar City, depending on your version, 3,000 years ago Yveltal came and stole the life of living things, or Xerneas came to the rescue of wounded Pokemon. He finished the tale by saying that they're likely metaphors for war and pestilence in Yveltal's case, or wishes that a legendary Pokemon would save them in Xernea's case. After the war, AZ's brother finally reached Kalos, the region he was trying to claim, and saw how ravaged it was. That's when he realized what a mistake their war was. He proceeded to bury the ultimate weapon in Geozen's town to try to hide it, telling his descendants about it only before passing away. And this is very important because Lysander is a descendant of the king's brother. Following this, there's a big gap until the next dated event, which happened 800 years before the events of X and Y, and it's when, depending on your version, Yveltal or Xerneas started their hibernation after either absorbing the life energy of those around it in Yveltal's case or giving life energy to those around it in Xernea's case. Yveltal became a cocoon in the mountains and Xerneas a tree in the forest. This is also an interesting event considering they sleep for 1,000 years, meaning that in X and Y they are forced to awake, showing us how Lysander became impatient. The next non-contemporary event that we have is the construction of the Pacthium Palace. This palace was built 300 years ago by the king of Kalos after a war with neighboring regions. Once again, we do not know who Kalos was at war with, and in this case we don't even know how it really ended. But it's somewhere between the construction of this palace and modern day that the events of Pokémon Legends Z-A, at least the events it seems to represent, are taking place, but for now that's just speculation. This brings us to contemporary events, the ones we experienced during our Pokémon X and Y playthrough. There are only a few key moments to reference here, but the most important of all is how Lysander, a well-respected man and descendant of Izzy's brother, tries to annihilate all that oppose his vision and are not part of Team Flare in order to create a more beautiful world. He does this by using AZ's key after capturing him and waking up Yveltal or Xerneas from its slumber to power up the ultimate weapon that he knows is buried in Geozenj, as it was passed down in his family. We, the players, stop him from actually going through with his plan, but it uses the little power left in the ultimate weapon to fire it, aiming to either torture us with the weight of eternal life in Pokémon X or kill everyone in the building in Pokémon Y. We escape, but this results in not only the destruction of the ultimate weapon and a good bit of Geozenj, but also the destruction of the secret hideout, which results in an uncertain fate for Lysander, who we never saw leave that place. It's after we become Pokemon League champions that we see one of the most important moments of Kalosian history actually coming full circle. In fact, I guess we could say it's coming from A to Z. After our victory, Professor Sycamore sets up a grand ceremony in Lumiose City, and that's when we are surprised by the arrival of AZ. We battle him, and that's when everything changes. AZ, after his loss, understands what a trainer is and thanks us for freeing him from what he believed would be his eternal torment. It's in that moment that one of the most iconic images in Pokemon history is created, where AZ falls to his knees and welcomes his beloved Floette, one that was doomed to eternally roam the world as well, and cries the words, "It's been 3,000 years before never being seen again." And that is all I have for you today. Those are the key moments in Kalosian history, from the war 3,000 years ago to the moment when AZ reunites with his Floette in Lumiose City, one of my favorite moments in X and Y. But what about you? What's your favorite moment in Pokemon X and Y? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. Also, you can become a channel member or check out my merch in order to further support the channel, and I'll be forever thankful for that. You can follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.